Hey guys, what's going on? Drift AI here, and today we are going to do something a little different. I've put together a little video about crosshair placement and the basics all the way up to advanced strategies. And for those who don't know me, I am a free Valorant coach, and most of my videos are about VOD reviews, and I go over gameplay with others. And you can get more information in the description below. Alright guys, let's get right into it. So crosshair placement is basically where your crosshair is on your screen. How are you placing it? Where are you looking? Why are you looking? And the finer details of making your crosshair exactly where you want it to be each time and having a good reason for it. And now, the deeper you get into this video, the more and more you'll realize that it's less about aim and more about crosshair placement. So let's talk about why crosshair placement is important and why it's usually the downfall of most of the newer players, and why all of the top level players always say crosshair placement, work on your crosshair placement, bring it up, higher, 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 you know, stuff like that. So now let's put ourselves in a situation where we're a newer player and our crosshair's kind of just doing wherever it wants. Okay, so now we're gonna peek this corner. Okay, so now we see a bad guy on our screen. Okay, so now, but look where our crosshair is. Now, it doesn't necessarily matter where it is, but if it's somewhere where it's not ready for these angles, he is ready for me, and I am not ready for him. So he has more of an advantage than just holding the corner on me, because now I have to flick from wherever I'm looking to the bad guy. And flicking is very difficult in first-person shooter games, and you want to put yourselves in situations where you're minimizing the amount of flicking you have to do each time to be consistent. Okay, so now I'm going to be talking about the different styles of crosshair placements. So you have pre-aiming and you have snapping to the corner. I don't really know a good name for it, but I'll call it snapping for this video. So what pre-aiming is when you suspect that someone is somewhere and you just preemptively aim at that angle. For example, if you're playing U-Haul and you want to peek short A, you're going to get your crosshair ready and then you're going to swing so that your crosshair is ready for the angle. See? Pre-aiming short A. Okay. Next corner. Pre-aiming that. Okay. Let's say I think someone's here. Pre-aiming that. Pre-aiming this. Okay. So we're basically essentially looking at the wall and getting ready for when we swing, our crosshair will be right there on him. Okay, let's talk about why pre-aiming is important and why we should be using it and when we should be using it. So when you're holding an angle and they peek into you, you see them first. So you have the advantage when you are the one holding the angle. So what pre-aiming does is try to mitigate all of the advantage that they have to try and make it a more fair 50-50 fight. So when you're ready for them, just as they are ready for you, then it becomes more of a fair fight. And sometimes you can even surprise your opponent by being more ready than they are for an angle. So here I'm going to go through hookah as I usually do, and I usually attack hookah with pre-aim strategies in mind, because someone's probably going to be in hookah. Okay, so now let's talk about the other style of crosshair placement, and that's snapping to the corner. Now, snapping to the corner looks exactly what it sounds like. We put our crosshair here, and then we move with it. As we're moving with it, right? Okay, so we just snap it to a corner, snap it to this one, we turn with it, we snap it to this one, we turn with it. Okay, now in what situations would we want to snap to the corner? So when a certain amount of time has passed and now the popular angles are no longer feasible because they can be anywhere, literally anywhere, because so much time has passed. Let's say you've gotten to hookah late and it's only like 30 seconds left into the round and you need to push out hookah for whatever reason, okay? So they could literally be anywhere. So we want to be clearing everything, right? They could be walking up as we speak. They could be holding an off angle or do something weird like that. So we want to be ready if we have no idea where they could be. And this is where snapping to the corner comes into play. Okay, so they could be anywhere. I don't know. Snapping to this corner, I'm looking. Okay, I'm snapping to this one. Okay. We're looking around. We're just clearing this. Okay, they could be... Okay, you see? He's just out in the middle of nowhere. You can't pre-aim this. No one ever plays here. So this is where snapping to the corner comes into play. You're ready for it. They just line up slowly. Now, they will have the advantage over you, but you will be a little bit more ready for these off angles when you are snapped to the corner. Now, the reason why we want to be snapping to the corner when we don't know where they are is because if they are somewhere where we don't expect and we're pre-aiming, then they will get a free kill on us more than likely. For example, let's say you are about to push out a hookah or peek out a hookah and some time has elapsed and we are pre-aiming this, okay? So we're pre-aiming right here. Okay, so we're ready for this one. We get our crosshair ready, now we swing. Uh-oh. You see? Since time has elapsed and they could be anywhere and their position doesn't necessarily have to be at these popular timing angles, then our crosshair is not ready for this. And now we have to flick from here all the way to here and we're pretty much dead at this point. Okay, let's talk about when we want to pre-aim versus snapping to the corner. Okay, so here the same situation. We have some info that they're market and they can't actually be here on the sand because of timing reasons, and so we know that they'll be market. So now if we do our corner snapping when we should be pre-aiming, this is what it looks like. Okay, we're corner snapping, and now while we're getting in this position, they see us first and our crosshair is like over here by the time they see us. So they see us right now and now we're like doing it. This is slow motion stuff, but that millisecond might cost you the kill. Okay, so we talked about attacking corners and the different strategies I use for attacking the corners, so snapping and pre-aiming and stuff like that. So now we're going to talk about holding angles.
30 seconds left.
Let me pause this. Okay. Now, so there's a couple of different options for holding an angle. So I categorize them by 3 different ways. We have the run out, the walk out, and the tight angle. So the most common one that we'll start with is the run out angle. Okay, so a thing that people do is they always hold too close to the corner. They think good crosshair placement is snapped right on this corner, when in reality, remember what I said about flicking and how we want to minimize as much as we can. If they run out or if they peek us, we will be flicking from here to where they actually are. So we do that by giving ourselves a little leeway. Okay, so for the first angle, we'll be talking about how to hold run-out angles. And run-out angles are where you hear the footsteps, you hear a rush coming, you know they're about to swing this corner super wide. And we want to be ready for it, because if we're holding such a tight angle and they swing out wide on us, then we're going to have to flick from here to here, and we do not want to flick. Okay? So we want to hold out like a far angle. Like we want them to just walk into our crosshair. Okay, so Thomas, go ahead and wide swing me. Okay, so I didn't even have to move my crosshair, and it just lines up perfectly for the run out angle. Now, if I hold a tight angle like this, okay, or like something like this, and we hear the footsteps, okay, Thomas, go ahead and do a running start, and wide swing me again. right? So now we're flicking from here to here.
No chance.
So now for walkout angles, we want to be doing almost the same thing, except, you know, an in between a tight angle and the run out angle. So it looked like something around here. Okay, so Thomas, go ahead and just walk around the corner. Okay, so this is what we want to be doing each time. I didn't move my crosshair a single bit. Because of good crosshair placement, I was managed to get this kill. This has nothing to do with aim. Any one of you can do the same thing that I'm doing. Now, there are times where you can hold these tight angles, right? And it's only for when you suspect your opponent is going to shoulder peek you, or they've been shoulder peeking you a lot and you can punish them, or like, you know, shoulder peeking like this, right? Do something like this, or just playing like really close to the angle. So, but most times out of 10 they will not be doing that. So I advise from holding such tight angles like this unless you have a very good inkling that they'll do it.
Your fault.
Similar situation here. We are going to be defaulting the walkout angle. We're holding the same angle. We're defaulting the walkout. Okay? And we're going to change if we hear something. Okay? So Thomas, go ahead and start running like you're running up to hookah. Okay, exactly. So we default to the walkout, and then when we start hearing the footsteps and we're gonna like, oh my god, he's about to wide swing me. Now you adjust to give yourself a little bit more space to compensate for the speed. Okay, so now let's talk about crosshair placement on elevation, and that could be the tricky one where everyone messes up on. And I have some tips and tricks for you that will really help you in these situations. Obviously, when they're here, right, crosshair placement, this isn't headshot level. This might be headshot level here or something, but when we're going here, obviously we have to just move it up and we have to compensate, okay? So the thing that I do for crosshair placement on elevation is find things around the map that are close to the headshot levels. For instance, this line, or maybe this box, right? You can line yourself up with things like this and be more prepared for it. Okay, so Thomas, go ahead and stand over here. Okay, so maybe we can find some right now. Okay, let's say I'm a pocket player, okay? And let's say I'm just in this corner, okay? So now I'm struggling where headshot level is because, you know, there's some stairs here, elevation, okay? So go ahead and slowly peek this corner and then stay put. Okay? So now take a look at the surroundings, okay? What do you think we can see? This little box right here. Move, right? Saffron 4500, okay? So now we know for this spot that this is basically perfect crosshair placement, okay? So now don't, so peek into me now. So I'm gonna, hold on, okay, go back, okay? So I'm gonna just pretend like, okay, I just get here, okay? Okay, now I'm holding the saffron, okay? Now slowly peek into me. Perfect. So now you can even use this trick for non-elevation changes, and it can really help you out a lot. For example, take a look at this. Look where his head lines up to. It's almost perfect one box height. So now, if I want to make sure that I have good crosshair placement, and these boxes are on every single map everywhere, okay? So I can aim around the top of the box or in between the two boxes, and then I will be ready for the headshot, okay? Now let's say you're just holding the angle and they're about to run out, right? It's okay, crosshairs on the floor. Oh, let me fix that. Oh, middle of the box, okay? I know the spot, okay? Now go ahead and fly out, okay? Give me a little footstep, you know, warning so I can hear it. Okay, so there we were holding the walkout angle, and we were holding at the top of the box because we know that's headshot angle, and then we heard the footsteps coming, so we adjusted to a little wider of an angle to get the perfect shot. Okay, for opping, crosshair placement is a little bit different because we do not want to be aiming at the head anymore. Why? Because Aiming at the chest and shooting someone in the chest is the same as shooting them in the head. They are both one-shot kills, and we want to take the larger surface area rather than the tiny little pea-sized head box. Okay, so for example, if they slow peek into me, okay, stop right there. Okay, so they are basically one-shot kill, all in this torso area and all up here. So this is what we want to be aiming for, not this. They're both one-shot kills, so let's take the bigger area. Okay, so standard crosshair placement for the op is lower. Okay, so here I'd be holding like a vandal, right? I'll be holding up here for the headshot. Now with the op, I'm actually aiming for the chest to make sure that the shot lands, and not gambling just for the flashy headshot. So for opping, it's pretty much the same exact thing as any assault rifle or pistol. The walkout angle looks something like this, the runout angle looks something like this, and it's the same thing, except we are generally aiming a little lower to avoid the headshots and go for the chest shots because they're much easier to land. Okay, so the one thing that is different, and where aiming as tight as you can actually comes into play, is with opping. Now, when should you do it and why should you do it? So let's say that I kill the long player. Like, let's say I'm holding long and they peek into me. Okay, so Thomas, go ahead and wide swing. Okay, so I get the kill, and now I back off. All right, so I probably win that round. So next round, the Brimstone's thinking, oh my god, he's opping me now, or they have an op, so, and he holds this corner. Okay, now if you want to hold the same exact corner, what do you think he's gonna do? Right, he's going to shoulder peek you. He's gonna try and bait out your shot. He's gonna try and make his shoulder stick out so you shoot at it, and then after you shoot and miss, then he wide swings properly. So when I kill someone and I hold the same angle and they know I have an op here, I will generally tend to aim for the shoulder angle so I can punish their shoulder peaks, and if worst case scenario and they wide swing again, I flick to the run out. And yes, it's a gamble, but if you do want to hold the same angle, keep this in mind that they now know that you have an op. So Thomas, go ahead and shoulder peek me. So you can actually punish them, and this works a lot in solo queue. They think they're getting the advantage over you, and they're like, let me just bait out a shot and then swing them, right? And then when they do this, you immediately are ready for it, and you just kill them. So now, attacking angles with the op is pretty much the same thing as the assault rifle, but sometimes when you know that they're holding an angle, or you've dived to it previously, or they're opping it, it's good to pre-fire certain angles with the op. Especially, I do this in particular when I know that the enemy has an op, and I have to take that corner from him using an op myself. It's very difficult to do, but this is what I do. I basically run out, crouch, and pre-fire the corner. Something like this. So you can surprise the enemy when they're holding the corner and they don't expect you to have an op and to be ready for this. As an opper, this is a skill that you definitely want to get used to, because situations like these come on into play more than you think. It's impossible to go over all the little finer details that makes up crosshair placement, but I wanted to keep the video relatively short. But thank you for watching, and if you guys have any questions, comments, anything, I'll read it all. I'll reply to them all. You can join the Discord, schedule a coaching, talk to me through there, and thanks again.